No doubt. What the effort from Chase Young? I mean, you saw the highlight on the Gibbs touchdown. It was bad. I asked Shanahan about it yesterday. Um, I didn't want to say Young's name
Hmm.
because I didn't feel like it was only Young, but his lack of effort was the most glaring on that one particular play. Shanahan, to his credit, did not dodge, did not make excuses, and just said guys weren't running on the back end on the backside,
Hmm.
and everybody was expecting somebody else to make the play. Man, that's really the opposite of the mentality that you need to have. How concerned are you about the 49ers defense just overall? It just they have a lot of great players. Um, and there's a lot of big names on this defense, but
Hmm.
man, I kind of wonder if it's more rep than reality as far as how pivotal or impactful some of these defensive players are.
Yeah, I think too something's off. And if you say something's not off again, I think you're lying to yourself. We just talked about the defense in 2021 when they were keeping them in the game. And I know there's some different pieces there. But something just doesn't look right. In terms of Young's effort, I saw a few plays where I'm like, what in the hell is he even trying to do? Some plays where he had to set the edge and he like just cut to the middle. I don't even know what he was doing. The Jameer Gibbs touchdown was unacceptable. I mean, absolutely unacceptable effort. And I saw the question you asked Kyle, and even he was like, yeah, like that's not good enough. But that you even have to ask that question, you shouldn't have to ask that question in October, let alone the NFC
Right.
Championship game.
Yeah, it was
Are you
very
kidding
bizarre.
me? Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me. Like this, it just looked like they were asleep on some plays. So I think, yeah, kicking Armstead out to the end may be the way to go on early downs. But it's just something is off. And I actually thought too, if the Niners lost on Sunday or what last week, that NFC Championship game, I didn't think Steve Wilkes was coming back because it was embarrassing. Again, I'm not the one. Nick Bosa said it was embarrassing. It's not just Al Sacco saying this. That first quarter was as bad. I mean, I thought it was like Jim O'Neill out there. Like it looked that bad. The old defensive coordinator with Chip Kelly. So
Yeah.
something's got to get done. And I'll be honest with you too. If they come out and they shit the bed in the Super Bowl again, I still think maybe you change the defensive coordinator because something doesn't look right to me. But you know what? If it doesn't look right and you still get a ring out of it, right? Whatever. Who cares? But the defense hasn't looked right to me in a really, really long time. In the pass rush, again, Bosa was awesome. He got home a couple of times, but they hadn't had a sack. I think it was 2 sacks in their last 3 playoff games or 4 playoff games or something like that. They just hadn't been getting home. So again, I'm hoping. I think that they're due. There's just guys in that defense that are due. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but I'm hoping they come out in the Super Bowl and start to get it back again. But you can't have that effort. You can't have that effort in October, in November, in September. You can have it in the preseason. You know what I mean? And it was the NFC Championship game, and the fact that has to get brought out, I feel like, what's going on? What's
I'm
going on?
being trolled on my own show here by Akshay. He says, Larry, what about Gravedigger? I'm in this mode right now where I don't want to hear anybody, Greg Papa or anybody else, say, there goes the Gravedigger. You get a nickname when you produce. If you don't produce, you don't get a nickname. I mean, this guy was given $40 million guaranteed. He had like 5 career postseason sacks coming into this year. We all talked about it the day of the signing. Oh, could you imagine how they're going to wreak havoc with Bosa and Hargrave? He's got no sacks, no pressures, no quarterback hits. I don't even think he has any tackles in these playoffs. He has been hugely disappointing. What, in my mind, I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
Give me your thoughts on as Akshay says, the grave digger.
Well, we knew he wasn't great against the run to begin with, right? That
Right.
wasn't his strength. His strength was, collapsing the pocket and getting to the quarterback. And yeah, you're right. They're not getting that pressure up the middle that I thought they would. And you said it when they signed him. It was, oh my God, Armstead and
This is
Hargrave up the
unfair.
middle.
This is
Right.
borderline unfair. It's like the Warriors
Well,
getting KD or something.
Bosa's going to have 25 sacks because they're going to, you can't double everybody. And they didn't really address the other defensive end position, I think, because they figured, okay, we're going to be so good in the middle. We can, figure it out with Farrell or whatever. Nothing was happening there. They bring in Chase Young and hope that he can revive that position. And he hasn't. He's been really bad. So the defensive line, yeah, when you look at those four names, you're like, oh my God, how are they not, just absolutely wreaking havoc? But for whatever reason, it hasn't happened. I don't know. I don't know if the scheme isn't the right scheme. Again, something somewhere is off. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. If people disagree with me, I'd love to hear why, but they have not looked like a dominant defense really since after the bye. They came out of the bye and they looked good for 4 or 5 weeks. But before that and after that little stretch after the bye, it's just looked like a very mid defense to me.
The guy who I think looks good is Javon Kinlaw. Now, other people have been very critical of Kinlaw this year, and I get it because he doesn't make lots of tackles, and he's not a huge sack guy. And if you're one of these people that doesn't watch the film and you just look at the stat sheet, you're like, yeah, he doesn't do nothing, But what he really does is he occupies blockers and he keeps bodies off of Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. And I think maybe their best chance of having success against Pacheco is if Kinlaw absorbs some of the interior offensive line of the Chiefs, and then Greenlaw and Warner are allowed to fly around and make plays against Pacheco. I think Kinlaw is quietly a very vitally important player in this game. He was one of the players that got to Montgomery behind the sticks on 3rd and goal from the 3 late in the 4th quarter, and that caused the Lions to use a timeout that may have decided the game. He put on several impressive effort plays on tape. I love the speed of which he played in this game. He seemed like he got off blocks in the run game. He put a little pressure through the bull rush on some of the pass plays. I love what I'm seeing from Javon. I know a lot of people feel like he's been, he's a guy that's been a disappointment, and I understand why, because they were comparing him to DeForest Buckner. But to me, he's playing his best ball right now, and if they're going to win this game, he's going to be a huge factor.
Yeah, listen, he's got knee issues too, right? Maybe his knee just wasn't healthy for a long time, and he's feeling better now. That could be a part of it too. But yeah, he has played a lot better, and he's one of those guys. It's like Armstead too. Eric Armstead is a phenomenal football player. He's important in the locker room. He's terrific on the field, but you may look at the stat sheet and be like, well, what did he do? Unless you're really watching the game and seeing what he did, seeing the havoc that he wreaks, seeing how important he is, when they are stopping the run up the middle. So I think Kinlaw is kind of in that right now where, like, if you look at the stat sheet, you'd be like, where is he? Because he's not getting a sack or whatever. He's been a lot better. And like you said, they're going to need it. They're going to need him to keep playing that way this week. But he's a talented guy. He's a 1st-round pick, and hopefully he's healthy. I still don't know that he'll be back next year, but he's certainly maybe playing well enough to get a contract somewhere else.